call to order the January 2nd, 2018 meeting of the Limestone County Commission. Pamela, any public comment?
No, sir.
Well, before we get started, I'd like to read a proclamation. It's for the, whereas Limestone County Commission recognizes the need to increase public awareness of the importance of youth mentoring and the benefits it offers to youth in our community, whereas Big Brothers Big Sisters North Alabama program gives adults an opportunity to do their part to strengthen our nation by providing youth with a long-term quality mentoring that is proven to help them reach their full potential, and whereas youth engaged in one-to-one professionally supported mentoring programs like Big Brothers Big Sisters in North Alabama are more likely to make positive choices in their lives and stay on track for the future. Whereas we as community leaders recognize the value that mentors have in building a strong and sustainable community, therefore be it resolved that the Limestone County Commission proclaims the month of January 2018 to be National Mentoring Month and Big Brothers Big Sisters North Alabama Month in Limestone County, Alabama, and call for all citizens to join the mentoring movement and be a part of the Big Brothers Big Sisters of North Alabama program. Thank y'all. And with that, Pamela, could you call roll, please?
Commissioner Hill.
Here.
Commissioner Turner.
Here.
Commissioner Black.
Here.
Commissioner Harrison.
Here. All present. Commissioner Black, could you lead us in our pledge?
I shall. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. All righty, first item on the agenda, I'll ask for a motion to approve the minutes from December 18th and December 27th, 2017. Do I hear such motion?
I make the motion.
I have a motion by Mr. Black. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Turner. Any discussion? If there's no discussion, I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Black.
Aye.
Commissioner Turner.
Aye.
Commissioner Hill.
Aye.
Commissioner Harrison.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Our next item, I'll ask for a motion to approve claims in the amount of $3,713,348.19 as submitted to the Commission. Do I hear such motion?
I make the motion.
I have a motion by Mr. Turner. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Black. Any discussion? There's no discussion. I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Turner.
Aye.
Commissioner Black.
Aye.
Commissioner Hill.
Aye.
Commissioner Harrison.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Our next item under resolutions and orders, I'll ask for a motion to approve the resolution for the simplified seller use tax remittance. Do I hear such a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I have a motion by Mr. Harrison. Do I hear a second? I'll ask once again, do I hear a second? Motion fails for lack of a second. Moving on, our next item, a resolution. I'll ask for a motion to approve a resolution to equalize road and bridge funding among districts based on road miles. Do I hear such a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I have a motion by Mr. Harrison. Do I hear a second? I'll ask once again for a second. If there's no second, the motion fails for lack of one. Next item, I'll ask for a motion for a resolution on the Special Hospital Tax Fund, TVA, in lieu of taxes. Do I hear such motion?
I'll make the motion.
I have a motion by Mr. Harrison. Do I hear a second? I'll ask once again for a second. Motion fails for lack of a second. Moving on to contracts, agreements, and grants. We have none. Budget revision. I'll ask for a motion to approve the litter patrol title of line item motor vehicle from budgetary fund balance in the amount of $24,000. Do I hear such motion?
So moved.
I have a motion by Mr. Hill. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Turner. Any discussion? If there's no discussion, I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Hill.
Aye.
Commissioner Turner.
Aye.
Commissioner Black.
Aye.
Commissioner Harrison.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. There are no emergency purchases. Under board appointment, I'll ask for a motion to approve to designate Chairman Mark Yarber to represent Limestone County at public hearing on the proposed creation of a tax increment finance district tentatively named TIF 7 on January 11, 2018 in the Huntsville City Council chambers. Do I hear such motion?
So moved.
A motion by Mr. Turner. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Black. Any discussion? If there's no discussion, I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Turner,
Aye.
Commissioner Black,
Aye.
Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Commissioner Harrison.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Our next item, award bids. I'll ask for a motion to approve the gasoline and diesel bid to award it to W.H. Thomas Oil in the amount of 30 cents margin over rack. Do I hear such motion?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Mr. Black. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Harrison. Any discussion? If there's no discussion, I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Black,
Aye.
Commissioner Harrison,
Aye.
Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Commissioner Turner.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. There are no personnel actions. This time we'll move to our esteemed engineers report. Mr. Moss.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. Have one subdivision for you this morning. It's minor subdivision. It's Edgebrook subdivision. This is a replat in District 4. This will be preliminary and final approval. It was originally set up as 12 lots, and another lot sold, and so the owner has come back and wants to make them 4 lots instead of 12.
It's your recommendation we approve this.
Yes, sir.
Do I hear a motion to approve the Edgewood subdivision replat as recommended by our engineer?
I'll make the motion.
I have a motion by Mr. Harrison. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Hill. Any discussion? If there's no discussion, I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Harrison,
Aye.
Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Commissioner Turner,
Aye.
Commissioner Black.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Anything else further?
Yes, sir. That's all I got for you today. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Moving on to other business, I'll ask for a motion to approve the sale of the following on Gov Deals. Item number 1, District 2, a 1999 16-foot by 77-inch trailer. Inventory number 2886. Do I hear such motion?
I make the motion.
I have a motion by Mr. Turner. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Black. Any discussion? If there's no discussion, I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Turner,
Aye.
Commissioner Black,
Aye.
Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Commissioner Harrison.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Our next item, I'll ask for a motion to remove the following from inventory for trade-in from District 2, a 2005 John Deere 7220 with Tiger Boom mower and a 2013 Komatsu PC55MR-3 Mini X. Do I hear such motion?
I make the motion.
I have a motion by Mr. Turner. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Hill. Any discussion? If there's no discussion, I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Turner,
Aye.
Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Commissioner Black,
Aye.
Commissioner Harrison.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Next item, I'll ask for a motion beginning January 1, 2018, change calendar to make Good Friday a floating holiday or personal day. Do I hear such a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I have a motion by Mr. Harrison. Do I hear a second? I'll ask again. Do I hear a second? Motion fails for lack of second. Moving on. We have no scheduled public hearings. At this time, we'll move to report of officers. Commissioner Hill.
Yes, I'd like to wish everybody a happy New Year. Also, we have cold weather. If you have uninsulated pipes, I suggest you leave water running because we have some froze water in the county system today, so everybody needs to be wrapped up. That's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Turner.
Yeah, we're short-handed still. Got people sick. Got people on vacation, and it's 8 or 10 degrees when we was out this morning digging a grave, so we probably won't be outside too much. I try to look after the guys. I'd rather have them inside now. That way when it does get fit to work, they're available, not sick from being out in this cold. So I just want to make a couple of statements about these resolutions that was on here today. I talked to part of our local legislative delegation about the TVA and lieu of taxes. They were not in favor. I think we heard Chairman Yarborough and our accountant Emily Ezel pretty well tell us why we didn't need to mess with the simplified seller's use tax in a work session. And as far as the other resolution about equalizing the road and bridge funding, That was a no-win situation for District 2. It basically had District 2 cut out of receiving any new funds for the foreseeable future. Not only did it do that, at the point that the other districts got up to the same amount of road mile money, they were going to be cut out. So we were going to wind up in a position where District 4 was going to wind up with all the new additional funding that come in. I find it hard to believe that we can make a scheme to devise road funding based solely on road miles when capacity issues have to be taken into account. And nowhere on this resolution was there any mention of any kind of traffic counts or anything like that. So I do know that when Governor Bentley's A-Trip program was put into effect, there was particular roads that could be used for that money. There was major collector roads. Mark, you and Bryant may be able to talk more about major collectors than I do, but that tells me we need to be spending the money that's on the roads that's carrying the most traffic, regardless of where they are. So there's no way I'll ever support any kind of resolution where District 2's funding gets stopped or cut. Thank you.
Sir, Commissioner Black.
Also on the resolutions, I've jotted down a few notes here where we do need funding for roads. We need extra money for the roads, but the options provided today by the resolutions are not acceptable. Again, traffic counts, there's no way that you can figure in every mile gets the exact same amount of money, because there are just certain areas that just have higher cars, higher big trucks. I mean, I know that District 4, they have where they were talking about, I think it was Avage trucks. I'll tell you what, I've got quite a few. I know that there on Huntsville Browns Ferry, where the rock quarry is coming out, we got a lot of big trucks that travel up and down Huntsville Browns Ferry from right there. And if you don't think those roads will tear them up, I don't know how many chicken trucks there are, but there's a lot of big trucks that come out there. Also, I talked to our state representatives and one of our senators. They are working on something. It's their responsibility to provide us money with the roads. We can't get all the money within Limestone County from each other or put a tax toward just our people. That's just not going to happen. It's probably not going to happen this legislative session. I know that their ideas are bouncing around. Some of them sound great. Some of them sound absolutely terrible. But our state representatives are put in that position to be able to make those decisions, not us. I tip my hat to them for trying to make things work. Sometimes they don't work, and they have to go back to the drawing board. I think they're going back to the drawing board this time. I will not be in favor of any changes until the state has exhausted all of their options to provide us with the funds. I will not put a burden on any employee at the hospital. I will not put a burden on anyone that lives within Limestone County for a local tax. It just won't happen. So I look forward to the ideas that our local legislators have, and hope that will rectify the problems that we do have. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Harrison.
I think there's some confusion about what was attempted here. First of all, we all admit that there's a disparity between road miles per district. That's just a mathematical fact. What I was attempting to do, and this is the third time that I've tried to do that, is try to rectify that based on road miles. And in doing so, in the last time I attempted to do this, one of the objections was, well, it took money from District 2. This one does not take $1 from District 2. What it did is it made available funds from the simplified sellers and the hospital TVA and lieu tax money, shifted that money over to a road fund to bring the other three districts up to the same level of funding. Now, when gas tax increases, District 2's gas tax money will increase. It would not take, and it never stopped the additional. In fact, when we were brought up to the same level, all four districts, any additional dollars goes up proportional to road miles. So District 2 would have an increase in funding. So there were two sets of factors in that resolution. One before parity, which District 2 would not receive any more money before parity was achieved. But after parity was achieved, District 2, 3, 4, all of us would go up based on road miles. And it was only from those additional funds that those factors would be applied to. So it's not taking any money, because that was a constraint that you put on the last time, that you said if it was $1 taken from District 2, you wouldn't be for it. So that was what I was trying to achieve in this, to meet your objections. And the same thing with, the simplified sellers. They said the sky would fall if we took $220,000 from the simplified sellers. So I backed off that and put a floor under $220,000 as a floor, and kept that in the general fund, and anything in excess above that would go to that fund to be distributed by those factors. Now, it would have been nice had we been able to discuss it before vote, but we didn't achieve a second. So, and like I say, y'all had ample opportunity when I presented these resolutions last Wednesday, or the time between, to consult Mark, who wrote the resolutions. He and I worked on those, but that's to clear confusion. I wasn't stopping District 2 from getting any of your money that you're due. So all the attempts are there, and it didn't require any new taxes. It doesn't, and it is our responsibility to. I mean, we can't just rely upon the state. It's our responsibility to set priorities within our budget. And as far as the TVA in lieu of tax for the hospital, their original agreement back in June of 2015 had it zeroed out in fiscal year 2018, and we're here now. And it should be a no-brainer. They've had time to make an adjustment. And it's Huntsville Hospital. It's the Huntsville Hospital system. And if you look at their financials, which they've had time to make an adjustment, and it's a very small amount in terms of their budget, and so it should be a no-brainer. But obviously it wasn't. That's all.
Thank you, sir. Well, I'll just say simply this, and then we'll leave it at that. As far as simplified seller use tax, if you say we're going to floor this 220 this year, and our TVA is dropping about the same, we're going to freeze the 220, but this TVA is going to continue to drop, then next year you're going to be in the hole, and the next year you fall in the hole. That's not rocket science. As far as the hospital thing, I think it's important to know, and I hope the press can convey this properly so people can understand. We can pass a resolution that the moon's made of cheese, and that's about all the good it'll do. And the same things with the hospital. That's up to local legislation. That's a local act, a local law. And for anybody to and I'm not saying you did, Ben, but for anybody to misconstrue that this commission can make a resolution that will affect enact law, that's just as wrong as it can be. We can pass resolutions till we blue in the face. It ain't going to change the way the local legislation does for that hospital. If the local legislation wants to take the $360,000 worth from the Athens Limestone Hospital and give it to Commissioner Harrison, then it's within their right and their prerogative to do it. I'm not going to stand up here and fight them one way or the other. But for us for anybody to think, well, hey, we can go ahead and just pass a resolution and they're going to quiver in fear and do it, that's just, not saying you are, but I'm just saying if anybody has that impression, then you're very, very bad and mistaken. With that being said, everybody try to stay warm. We've got buildings that's froze, and I know people's got froze pipes, and we'll have to, when it thaws out, everybody will have to deal with that. Try to stay warm. Thank everybody for coming. And with that, we will recess until 10 a.m. on Wednesday, January 10th, 2018 at the Washington Street Courthouse Annex, 310 West Washington Street. Thank you.